Beautiful souls, do you have a prayer request or want us to send you healing energy today? Would you like us to be praying for you, a friend, or a loved one? If this is you, go to worldslargestprayernetwork.com to submit your prayer requests. And while you're there, please join our team of prayer warriors. Your angels say that prayer not only opens you to miracles, raises your vibration, and helps you heal, but the more you pray, the more God's presence is felt here on earth. Feel your angels' love right here, right now, as they surround you, and be on the lookout for positive, loving messages that are meant specifically for you in today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius, and today we have on a very special guest sharing her angel stories. Please join me in welcoming Carly to the show. Thank you so much for being here, Carly.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for having me. So I have a Christmas angel story, which is extra fun and meaningful. So I have been awakening since about 2017 through various wonderful teachers, including you. And I've been very close to angels lately. And so I've been very connected. And on Christmas Eve, about 4:00. So I wrote it down so I'd remember it to paint the picture. But it was 4:00. I'm at my parents' house, their new house. So they just moved after a lot of years in the fort. My parents' house used to be because all my friends would be there. But we're in a new house on Christmas for the first time. And they have less bedrooms. And so I had to buy air mattresses for my kids because my brother and his fiance were in the town. He've got 2 dogs. We've got 2 dogs. Our dogs don't get along with other dogs. So, we're all dealing with all this chaos. We've put them in different places. I'm now blowing up air mattresses for my kids in my mom's office. And I'm listening to Sarah Bareilles, who is I just adore her. And I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to meditate through it because of the holiday stress. And I'm making this. My mom comes in. She's like, well, let me help you. And I'm like, Mom, I just need to I need to just be by myself right now. Thank you so much. I love you. I've got this. This is good for me right now. I need to be, away from people. And so I'm in the room and I finish with my stuff and I feel kind of bad for snapping at her. And I go into her bedroom, which is across the way from the room that I was in. And she's just lying on the bed, lights off, staring at the ceiling. And I was like, Mom, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm missing Grandma. And, my mom, she loves her mom. But my grandma was in a time where men were important and women were not. My mom was a medical malpractice defense attorney with a master's in nursing and a law degree. Very smart woman, did it all herself. Was not appreciated, I think, as much as she would like to have been for that. So they don't have a simple relationship, but she was sitting there saying, I just was looking at the recipe cards that my mom wrote for Yorkshire pudding, which is an English dish. And she's like, and it just occurred to me that I'm no longer in charge. This isn't my show anymore. And I'm missing my mom. And I was just like, oh, well, she's here, Mom. You can always, talk to her. And I remember laying on the bed with my mom and holding her hand. And I've kind of talked to my mom about spirituality. We're Episcopalian, so we're very, very, open. And she led a youth group called All You Need Is Love that toured different religions. So very, very, open in that way. But she, has always been a little bit skeptical. So we're lying there on the bed. And I said, I also miss her. And so she said, I was looking at her handwriting for the Yorkshires and it just made me miss her. And I talk about, okay. So my memory of my grandma, and it's one of my signs in my sign library, is when she lost my grandpa, she was devastated. And she always used to go to the doctor's office and apparently took the candy bowl of these like jelly oranges. You know what I'm talking about, those orange slices? And would like dump them into her purse. She would like my aunt was like, I remember her being like, well, I just had to like buy her these orange slices because she, would dump them from the doctor's office. It was embarrassing, so she had to like get these bags of jelly oranges. And so, that's what I picture with my grandma: wintergreen Tic Tacs, jelly oranges, pocketbooks. Like that's what I picture. And so I'm telling my mom about that story. Okay. So then I'm like, she's still here, Mom. Like you can always talk to her. And I feel grandma all the time. And she's like, yeah, so we're lying there. It was a really wonderful moment. So the next morning, Christmas morning, right? I'm sitting in front. So I was sitting in front of my dad. We all opened our stockings. And I had just talked to her about how many signs I received. My angels are so fantastic in the signs that they sent me. So I'm opening my stocking. My dad's sitting behind me. My mom is sitting right next to me. And I look at this stuffed reindeer my parents have, Luna. And it's like life size. And I look, and Luna's got an angel ornament over her ear. And I'm like, Mom, look, I'm telling you, I see angels everywhere. And she's like, yeah, okay. And my dad goes, and at the same time, my dad is opening his stocking, goes, oh boy, orange slices. and it's like, there's my dad with this pack of jelly orange slices. I'm looking at my mom, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, yes. I'm like, Mom, that's grandma. And like, I'm dad's sitting there, and he's like, what? Like, he's just opening his stocking of candy, happens to open the orange slices at that moment behind me. So I couldn't have known. I'm pointing at the angel and that's in front of me. And as if that's not enough, we continue to open presents. And my sister-in-law, my brother's fiance, gives my mom this gift, and they're we know it's going to be special. I don't know what it is. But she's watching her open this, and she's, it's like an Etsy gift or whatever. So she's opening and doesn't know what it is. And she got her tea towels with her mom's recipes on them.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so there's, I'm joking with her. She's laughing, and I'm sure she just like moved it, but then like moved it out of her mind. But then validation, like pow, pow, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just here are the Yorkshire pudding recipe is in my grandmother's handwriting. It's like a picture of the handwriting on the tea towels.
And your mom was just talking about this on the bed.
Yes. The night before.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what we were, and this was all within the span of 30 minutes. So like, I'm saying, I told you, Mom, I'm seeing my angels. And she's like, yeah, okay. The kids put that there. Then I've got orange slices, Dad behind me, which I just told my mom was exactly what I thought of grandma. And then like, she's opening this gift and there are her mom's handwriting on the tea towels.
So isn't it so interesting, though, that your mom knows this stuff, right? Like she knows openness. She taught it. She knows love. She taught it. And, yes. And yet for each of us, for me, for you, for every single healer, our egoic minds can get in the way and say, but am I making this up? Is this just me?
I think that's the work that I'm realizing as I'm moving through my journey. Is it's really wonderful to share validation with people. And that's why these podcasts exist, because we all need it. I need it, it's profound things happen. And I think all the time, and that's the egoic mind coming in and saying, no, but I feel like the work is in knowing and feeling that joy and knowing it doesn't matter who else feels it, who else sees the sign, who else? Like, it is a language between me and God, and it is beautiful and profound, and it honestly can't be articulated. But at the same time, because it can't be articulated, it sometimes can seem like it's not real. And I'm a communications major, and so, and I also am an actor. So I've got an ego and an ego. Okay. So
How did you say that? An ego and a what?
And an ego. Like, I got like an ego, like so,
Oh my goodness.
so I need people to validate the hell out of me. You know what I mean? So I think the more at peace, like, that's going to be work my whole life, is knowing that my language is my language, and it's beautiful and profound regardless of who else validates it. And I think as women too, and we talked about this, I think, on your Instagram, as women, I think we constantly are or we're told, it's an implicit bias that we need to be approved, validated, seen as correct, or as, it's never enough syndrome, and I think that's something my mom has, and is continually has, with her, not being enough for her mom. And, and when you feel like you're not worthy of the signs that you're getting, it's a hard place to be,
Absolutely.
because it's such a wonderful thing that happens, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't deserve this. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's hard work to get through that. And I think that's where she is right now. I think my mom is super intuitive. I've always thought that.
Yeah. It's really interesting, where I am in life right now in general, turning 40 myself, finding and kind of hitting my own stride as an entrepreneur and trusting myself more than ever. And actually looking at my kiddo and saying, okay, she's going on 11 right now. I want to impart wisdom to her and skills to her, because I see that she has so much of me and so much of her dad, like the best parts of both of us. And I know that she is going to take something and run with it, whatever it is, her own thing one day. And like, how do I impart that to her? Right. And I'm going to mix in a third part here. When I work with students in the Angel Reiki School, one of the biggest coaching pieces there is walking people through how to disarm themselves from completely attaching to their egoic mind and that fear and the what ifs and the doubts, and really building confidence, right, in themselves and trusting in what they're seeing from the other side. So I think it's interesting because I don't anticipate, like what the message is going to be of each of these episodes. I just let spirit come in and bring through the message. But what I'm really hearing today from the angels is that the people listening today need to understand that if you feel self-doubt, if you feel within your head, like, am I making this up? Know that you're not alone. We all feel that way too. And just the difference between people, and really what I want to impart to my daughter and everybody listening here today is what I tell my Angel Reiki School students is what the angels say. All you have to do is keep going. So many people let their fear stop them that they don't even get started. So many people let their fear get in the way, and so they quit early. So many people let their fear get in the way, or they compare themselves to other people and they feel less than, and so they stop in their tracks.
I think what also, it's women in particular, and I know this because I studied I forget what the official term is, but the art, like learning, basically how adults learn. And women in particular, I was listening to something about, I think it was like a founder of a girls in tech startup or something. And she was talking about how girls, like the difference between men and women, or boys and girls rather, just, and this is not a judgment. This is just an inherent or implicit bias that we are surrounded by. Right. So you'd have them go and start to type code. And after an hour, the little boys would have, sheets and sheets of some good, some bad, some sideways. And most of the girls would have much less. And she studied this and then came to realize that the reason was because they kept erasing and redoing it and erasing and redoing it, because it was not enough to, like that thought of, I need to learn everything before I can do, or I need to be prepared before I can do.
Yeah.
How many times have you thought, like, especially if you're speaking to people who are just starting this, how many times have you seen something and, dismissed it? And then someone brings up like exactly like first signs, for example, or if you're thinking about something and you don't say it because you think it's too wacky or whatever. And then someone says to you that exact thing and you're like, I was going to say that. And you know what I mean? And I didn't do it. And then you think they don't believe you. And then you go through this whole thing and it's like, because that's what it is. You don't think, you just, actually Pat Longo says, deliver the mail and deliver it with grace. It's, you're basically a post person. So don't worry about what comes out of your mouth. You're like, the post person's not worried about what's in the mail,
Right. Right.
It's just like here, you can be whatever kind of mail person you want. You can be on Lake Geneva. I know you've probably been on the mail boat.
Yeah. So that's so fascinating, Carly, because one of the things that Spirit always talks about when I'm in the Angel Reiki school is, just keep going, right? They tell students all the time, just keep going. If you don't quit, your angels are never going to quit on you. They're always going to be right there. They're always going to be advancing you further. So as long as you don't quit, you're just going to keep going and becoming more and more and more successful at whatever it is that you want to do. Friend, if the idea of connecting to your angels and changing your life using your very own spiritual gifts sounds amazing and is deeply resonating with you today, I want you to go on my website and check out my angel membership. Registration is open. Sign up today and you'll get access to new course content and events each week and a private community. Members love how everything you need for your spiritual awakening is all in one place. Sign up today. Angel membership. It's incredibly healing. Also, the winner of this month's free reading with me is in the show notes below. Leave a 5-star positive review of my podcast or book, and you could be next month's winner. Lastly, check out the upcoming events page on my website, theangelmedium.com, because we have a lot of upcoming events that I know you're going to be interested in. So I know you have a second story. Let's move over into... Yeah.
So this one, in 2000, so I mentioned to you, I still am, I guess, an actor, but I have a BFA in acting. That's where I started and my career. And so I still have lots of friends in the industry. And I'm not going to mention them by name, but I have one in particular who's very successful, was headlining on Broadway. And during the pandemic, for my friends in New York, basically their entire, I always used to say that I left acting because you work 2 jobs, you get paid minimum wage for one, and then you have to go to drink and meet people afterwards. So you're not getting sleep either. So, I just didn't want to live the lifestyle. I was feeling so negative about myself. So it takes a huge amount of resilience to be an actor. To live that life of people telling you you're not enough for reasons that are beyond your control all the time. So combine that with everything shutting down for theater, certainly, but restaurants, which is, the lifeblood of the service industry, is also the lifeblood of the acting industry, because that's where you make money. And so literally everything you have has been shut down and has no prospects of reopening. I have a couple of friends. One was a bass jazz musician. She's an actor and she worked at a Michelin star restaurant, and it doesn't matter when there's a pandemic and everything shuts down, and it's like, so anyway, that's the scene. I think this was 2021, but I'm not sure if it was 2020 or 2021. So I had this dream, like a vivid dream, where I dreamt actually about Robin Williams. And he and I share a lot of things. He's an Episcopalian, and so I relate to him on that. He makes Episcopalian jokes. And, so I had this dream where it was like Good Will Hunting almost. That's how my brain pictured it. And we were all waiting to meet him. And we had like a whiteboard or something like that. And he walked in and he said, like, he and I got along. And I was like, pleased as punch. I'm like, oh my gosh, he likes me. We're talking. He's laughing at my jokes. I forget what kind of jokes I made. I told my husband at the time. But something he then joked about, and he's like, I don't know why all these actors are complaining that they're out of work because of a pandemic. That's the norm. Get back to work, guys. Let's go. And it was like a joke that, like, everybody's talking about, oh, woe is me. Broadway is closed. You're never on Broadway anyway. Like, you're all, you're working at a restaurant. So go find another job, do what we've always done, and move on, and I woke up and I told my husband, I was like, wow, this was real. Like, whoa, I can picture what he was wearing. So I'm telling my husband about this. And I think that maybe it's a message for my friend, who has just closed Broadway as a star of a leading role, and now is out of work next day. So she goes from, the person to like an actor does. That's the whole messed up nature of it. There's no like highest achievement. There's no where you stay.
I never even thought about that before. I never even considered that. That must be so hard.
Oh, just the personal resilience of having to have the confidence, speaking of confidence in yourself, of, having to know your worth beyond, you go from press engagements, singing on Dancing with the Stars, touring the country, doing interviews about, she was in Beautiful, which is Carole King's musical. She was Carol. And she, doing these interviews about this star and being the focus and all of the attention. And then it closed. And now she's in a new city. She's from Chicago. She moved to New York. She's in a new city. She's got to get new agents. She's got to get a new community. And then this happens. And so, so I thought this was for her, just to make her laugh, and so I delivered that to her. I was kind of unsure about it, but whatever. So this happens. Fast forward 9 months, and I'm in a healing. I finally got myself a healing for Christmas, and I'm talking to this healer, and we're talking about religion or something. And I mentioned that I'm Episcopalian, and I know that this person is Catholic, and I'm like, oh, we're the same. Just I have half the amount of guilt you do. And she were laughing, and I was. They were like, you should be a stand-up comic, and I was like, oh no, that's Robin Williams' joke. I can't take credit for that. We go through. Really, what I get from the healing is listening, opening my mind, and one thing I'm working on right now is developing a symbol library. And that was something I really walked away with, is sort of understanding that when you are getting messages, it's not going to be this like voice. It's like you create your own language with the universe. And so I'm thinking about this all day. And I'm in the shower that night, and I'm just like trying to open my mind. I'm like, okay, what do I need to know? Like thinking about this symbol library, what do I need to know? And I keep thinking about Robin Williams. And I'm like, this can't be like, this is ridiculous. It's not this can't be Robin Williams. Like, this is like bizarre, but it keeps popping in. I can't stop thinking about it. And then I think, okay, so there's someone close to me who's an addict who went to the same rehab as Robin Williams. And I'm like, okay, so maybe that's my symbol for this person, or for addiction, or for something. But anyway, I write it down because it keeps popping in. I'm like, maybe I should just get a biography. I should get like maybe there's something I need to know. So I write it down and put it away. The next morning, I get alerts on my phone for new podcasts. Typically, honestly, it's you, or it's, another podcast I'm listening to. But that morning it was a different, it was a mediums podcast. And I hadn't thought about this one in a while. And I was like, I'm taking this all too. I did this, the ego and self-doubt thing. I'm like, this is just me looking for this now, like, calm down, Carly. Everything's going to be okay. Not everything means something, And so I go through the day, and at the end of the day, I'm running to, a store to do an errand. And I put on the podcast, and I'm like ready for this profound message that I secretly think that is in there. And I go through the whole episode, and there's nothing, like, it doesn't relate to me. And which is confirming my ego, right? I picture my ego as like a little Bichon Frise, like giving my ego all the validation. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Thank you. Because I'm sure there's something better on the way. I'm sure there's a reason I did whatever I did. Thank you for what didn't happen. Thank you for what did happen. I'm trying to get back into this gratitude mindset, and I'm pulling into my subdivision, and there's an episode. I'm like, maybe I should do another episode. And I'm like, nah, I don't know if I want to start something right before I pull in. I decided to look at the episode. Title of the next episode is Broadway Performer Annalise Gets a Message of Inspiration from Legendary Actor.
Oh, shut up.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way. I'm thinking, and then I think to myself, I'm like bargaining. I'm like, well, if this is Robin Williams, then, and I'm thinking it's a long shot. I'm like, there's no way he's tied to Broadway. Like, there's no whatever, like, this isn't. So I'm looking at him like, I'm going to start it. And I'm so scared, because what if I don't get validated again? Like, what if this is wrong? I'm just looking too far into it. It is the star of Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical.
Oh my goodness.
And this medium is channeling Robin Williams.
Amazing.
I'm thinking about it
Amazing.
right now. I literally, my mouth dropped.
Mouth on the floor. Yes.
I was like everybody talks about these moments that you get these huge, like, validations.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy shit. Like, what? I mean, you can't deny that, right? So I'm going through listening to this. I'm getting, I don't know who to talk to about it, because of course I need the validation from other people. But, and then I start to try to talk to him in my mind, and I'm getting like jokes, honestly. And I'm getting, thinking, what does this mean? And looking at, I was looking at a lighting fixture that was hanging, and I heard Birdcage in my mind.
Yeah.
Because that's the movie that he was in. And like, I'm just laughing. I'm walking around the house laughing and feeling great. I move forward. Right. And the feedback he gave the actress was like, you gotta laugh more. You gotta this could be funnier. Like, it could be a little funnier. And, right? So she's like laughing at that. And I'm like, God, this is weird. Is he like one of my, like, he can't be one of my guides. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm making him really special right now. Like, just another person, but at the same time, like, trying to reconcile this. So I'm reading his biography. I keep reading his biography. And trying to think of like what else, I'm supposed to know. I have ADHD. He is ADHD. And it's talking about his sort of creative mind, and that's a big thing in my life. And so, that was validated. We're both from Illinois. He's from Lake Forest.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, me either.
Wow.
He grew up in Lake Forest. I live in Libertyville. It's the town over.
Seriously. That's amazing.
And I'm thinking, like, it's just a bunch of validation, right? And so then fast forward to, I'm talking to you on Instagram Live. And I've happened to just told someone in my soul circle, who I am walking through, she just sort of is starting to awaken, right? And you're telling me you've got people behind you that you need to help. And I'm like, that's so interesting that you say that, because I'm just started working with this person. Not like formally anything, but just as a, friend. And so he hadn't talked to me in a while, right? I wasn't getting like that profound connection, talking to him. And so I'm talking to you, and we're talking about, I think, just how to stay in oneness, and I try too hard. That's my MO, is like, I need to be too much. And I had been thinking recently that I think the purpose of Robin Williams being in my, or Robin, I guess, being in my, thoughts, or that whole thing, is to tell me to take this journey lightly, to laugh, to have fun, and to be joyful about it. And after talking to you, I'm talking to my friend who immediately, she never watches Instagram Live. She got a push notification. She doesn't have her push notifications set. She's watching this live as we're talking about it. I had no idea she was going to hear it. And she goes, "You told my story about how I thought I was pregnant." And I was like, "What? I'm sorry. I didn't think you'd listen to it." And so we're going back and forth. It's like, I don't think she listens to Angels in a, it's a niche audience, it's and it's a wonderful audience, by the way, but I don't assume that she's, this is not the type of person that I thought would be listening to or watching our Instagram Live on a Wednesday night, Wellness Wednesday. So it was a Wednesday night. And so she's like, that was so amazing. And we're talking about it. And I'm putting I'm telling her, she was like, "It's like your Robin Williams thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to be on her podcast and talking about this too." And I think that really he was there or is there or whatever, just to remind me to laugh and to keep things light. And so this is the end of this, is I walk into my kid's bedroom. It's a movie night. And I'm going through the movies on Netflix, and they see Happy Feet 2. And I click on it, and it's his character singing a song about love.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, this is it. This is how they put it all together for us. Couple different things. One is, I was in meditation pretty early on when I started this work. And one day, Sylvia Brown came in, and I'm like, "Sylvia, what are you doing here?" And she goes, "I'm part of your spirit team." And I'm like, "No fucking way." Right? Like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And I've talked to other people before who are like, "Well, Wayne Dyer steps in for me," or these other people from the other side. What's happening with this is that your soul is omnipresent on the other side. You can be split into as many different places as you need to be, just like the air surrounds everything. Here, you can be anywhere all at once and everywhere all at once. So I do believe that Robin Williams is still doing a lot of work with Earth realm here, and that it's not just spiritual teachers who have passed that you can connect with their energy. It's anybody. There are mediums out there who just channel celebrities from the other side, or musicians from the other side.
I've seen some of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do believe that is real. What you can understand, though, is that some of them come in every once in a while. Some of them are part of your spirit team. Like Sylvia Brown she's got a place. She's got a seat at my spirit team table. She's there all the time. Wayne Dyer will actually step in once in a while, but I don't see him every single time I see my spirit team. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So Robin Williams might be one of those for you who steps in every once in a while.
Yeah. I think that's how it is. I think it's like when I need to be reminded to take myself less seriously.
Yeah.
That's when I typically will hear, laugh. It's a gift. It really is. It reminds me that like joy is it. It's that boyish quality of, Peter Pan is also a big thing of mine too.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because Gabrielle is a huge part of your spirit team, Archangel Gabrielle, and also the Seraphim, particularly Seraphina. So I saw that you had the book, and you've got all of your notes in my book, in front of you.
Yeah.
Has it helped you develop your symbol dictionary going through
Yeah. So I'm trying to, what's interesting is I typically follow the rules of books. And that was what I was going to do. It's like, it's so delicious to me to just have like a thing that I need to do. And I started it that way. And then I just sort of like, I dealing with this Robin stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go and flip through and see what's interesting to me, because I don't need to, this doesn't need to be like school for me. It is school, but it needs to be fun, and it needs to be something I want to do and not something that I feel like I have to do. So I flipped through and I went through and I started to get to the angels, because I was doing, and I went back to oneness, by the way. So I'm just going back and forth between for what, and I'm getting what I need, right? So I'm reading a oneness chapter, and it mentions Seraphina, and I'm like, who's that? Like, I have no, I know big angels, Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel. I'm a communications major, and I feel like I that makes sense to me. But I had never heard of Seraphim, Seraphina. And I flipped to that page, and I can't tell you what it says because I don't have it right in front of me, but it's, I'm reading about it, and you're talking about people who you were healing and you felt angel wings on them, but they're not angels. They're just meant to be here to help people. And I mean, I've told C-suite executives, my purpose in life is to love people. They've looked at me like I'm nuts. That is truly what I feel, and not in a way that everybody should love each other, but in a way that I am a champion for love in a way that not many people I know are. And it's not a better or worse thing. It's just like, that's how I feel. Mm-hmm. And I was reading through this, and I'm, at the end, you say, there's like a line that's like, Seraphina says to tell you, if you've got the chills right now, this is you. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm literally reading this. Like, I'm reading this, and I'm like wondering, I'm like, is my air conditioning on? Like, I'm like trying to see like where the fan is. Like, I've got my candle in front of me. I'm like, I'm in the basement. Is this just me being cold? And you're like, Seraphina says to say, if you feel the chills right now, this is you. Another sort of jaw-dropping moment where I'm just happen to be reading. Right. But yes, so this is an example of how I get what I need. I'm learning. I didn't know she exists, but now it's so clear to me that this is who this is. And, and I keep thinking about her, and the seraphim in general, and because love is a big thing, right? Yeah, that's like that's clear. I mean, clearly, right?
It's in all of you've got like 3 signs behind you.
Yeah. Well, and someone told me, I love your Valentine's Day display. And I was like, oh girl, this is 365. This is not.
Well, I know. Yeah, me too. Let's see on this side. Yes. Yeah.
This is just general. Like, it's nice. I love Valentine's Day, but but anyway, so that's how that helped me, is to identify that. And you know what, I just realized the other day when I'm meditating, I keep seeing eyes. And I was like, and I'm like, is this like a reflection of my retina? Like, I'm trying to think of like why I'm seeing eyes. And I saw something, I was reading something about like 6 eyes, or because there's the 6 wings things. Right. Right. And I was like, oh, I'm just staring at this angel, amazing. And that's how the book is helping me. I sit in, I learn about angels, and you're right. You have to do one at a time. You have to do, sort of let them in. I read one day, and then I reread the next day, and then journal.
Good.
So like, I'm familiar with it, and then like let it sink in instead of doing one a day. But it's so helpful in just getting a landscape for angel work in particular. I feel like there's no go-to guide, and that's the way it should be. But I'm interested in angels. I feel very connected to angels. I feel very connected to love. I feel like this really resonates with me, and it helps me to sort of put a path to that without Googling, without wondering about sources,
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And I love that you're pulling all of that information together and building your own sign dictionary. That's so perfect.
It's actually funny because you mentioned chicken soup for the soul in one of your podcasts. And I gave her, there's an angel one of that. And so I gave her that the other, and like literally you mentioned it like that day, which was pretty profound.
That's amazing.
She needs right now, validation after validation after validation. And it's not in a way that's necessarily directly, we talked about this earlier, to bring it full circle, to know that you're not alone, to know that this is not something that you are feeling weird about alone, that you are feeling, like could be real, couldn't be real, but you're seeing all this stuff and you're confused and there's no go-to and there's no society, like it's not the norm.
Right.
Like, that's what these stories are so important for, is to know that this is real.
I do. I totally agree with you, because it's part of raising the vibration here. We can't raise the vibration is one piece of it. What people don't understand is the soul is vibrational frequency, but it's also thought consciousness, the thought consciousness of the intuition. And you can't just work on one. You have to work on both simultaneously. And so the validation piece comes in to work on that egoic mind and the thought piece as well. And so when you have those, I do think it is, you're totally right. Like I love being a tool, that they can work through in order to bring the message that needs to come out at this time. Yeah.
And help people with, I was telling her there's two sides. There's the spiritual side and then there's a practical side, because you need therapy, right? You need therapy to heal the wounds that you've had if they're real,
100%.
But then there's also a connection for spirituality, right? And they're two different things. You can have them both at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Well, and there's new scientific data that actually shows that having the spiritual piece while going through therapy has a completely different outcome for people than those who don't connect to spirituality going through therapy.
I totally believe that. Mm-hmm. It's letting it in. I have it like, let light in, let light shine. That's what I have on my board right now.
Oh, well, Carly, you're such a beautiful soul. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your work, Julie. I'll talk to you. I'll see you around.
Yes, you too. Bye. Bye. Beautiful soul, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Julie. I'm all about connecting you with messages from your angels and loved ones on the other side. If you've been listening today and you're super excited and just have to know which angels are sitting around you now, who's connecting with you, and how they're supporting you, go to theangelmedium.com. Register for a virtual session. You can do a reading with me or a member on my team. We're all incredible. We all talk to angels daily, and we can help you in making sure that your angels are doing the best they can to support you and guiding you to the life you want to live. Virtual sessions, they're only offered on my website, never, never, never offered on social media, only offered on theangelmedium.com. Sign up today. And if you're the person who's really excited, you're ready to go all in developing your unique spiritual gifts, growing your intuition, starting your own healing business, you can sign up for my Angel Reiki School to become a certified angel messenger. That's for the healers among us who feel called to grow their intuition to the max and serve humanity with their gifts. You'll learn energy healing, mediumship, how to deliver angel messages, and business mastery skills. That's the Angel Reiki School. You can find more information on theangelmedium.com or DM me over on Instagram at Angel Podcast with any questions you have. Friends, before you go, connect with your angels by placing your hand on your heart, taking a deep breath. Imagine a doorway filled with God's unconditional love in front of you. I want you to step into that love in front of you. And I want you to feel it as it fills your body, your chakras, and your auric field. Now ask your angels, what would you have me know today? And open yourself to the positive, loving messages they have just for you.